You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Michelle Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you in the virtual. You see me looking around because I got to find the buttons. You know how I roll. I never lie.
Live TV.
I know nothing. And on Life is a Sacred Journey, wherever you are in our virtual neighborhood, we are excited that you join us every Friday morning at 8 a.m. And I know that of those of you who watch us in places like Moldova and places that I could never have imagined that this podcast, vlog, whatever they call this thing, would reach you. I want to thank you so much. And I want to tell our family in Moldova, Felicia's parents, we are praying for you and thinking about you every day as this war continues in the Ukraine. So I've lit my candle for all of the folks across the world that are feeling pain because of their race, because of LGBTQ, because nobody wants to listen to what they say, to the children who are invisible. The candle is lit for hope. And we light that every Friday morning for all of those who are oppressed because somebody thinks they have to have power over that other individual. So we thank you, all of you in the Life is a Sacred Journey community, because we know that's not you. So share your light like the Care Bears. Remember, that's what we do. Share your light out into the world so that we can change this world in our lifetime. Let's not wait to be dead and come back again and try to work this all out, okay? So welcome to Life is a Secret Journey. I'm your host, Michelle Pope. And this morning, you know how I feel about art and music and all that kind of stuff, you guys. I have my new bestie. You know, everybody that comes to Life is a Sacred Journey becomes my bestie, because that's the only way we have to do this thing. Richard Wilmore, and he is the director of storytelling from the organization Arts Need Heart. And this is an amazing organization that is looking at the psychosocial, bringing art and storytelling and music and writing and all of that movement to people who are in the hospital, individuals who are experiencing diseases like cancer, dementia, just all of it, but bringing it in a therapeutic way, in one-on-one sessions online, group sessions online, and then the gratitude gram, which I'm so thankful for that, because that's really powerful stuff. But also, my new bestie has his own blog, vodcast, whatever this thing is. And his platform is very exciting because he really does embody the vision and mission of gratitude and sharing and laughter and again, the arts. So I just want to thank you, Richard, for taking time out of your day. I love it that you're the director of storytelling, because I believe we are all building our story and telling our story every single day. But you also have this award-winning show, the Richard Wilmore Show, and you're doing a whole lot of things in the world. And I just want to thank you, first of all, for that, for being the change that we all want to see in the world. And again, thank you for coming to Life is a Sacred Journey. It's an honor and privilege to share this platform with you this morning. So welcome.
Gosh. Back at you. You had me crying already the first 30 seconds into this. I was like,
tears of joy.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I'm so excited to begin my Friday with you. I want to, you have a brand, it's going to be like a long time listener, first time caller here, because I'm in love with you now. Just so you know, we are besties. Sorry.
And I you. So I want to talk a little bit, first of all, because I did, I did stalk you in preparation for today. But you told your story about, going through a divorce, and I've been there, so I know what that does to us. And coming out of that and saying, I want to do something for the world. You had a family member that was ill, and then just taking what I call the gifts and blessings. Like, I think we all have them. And when we live them out, then we are able to enjoy our lives. And I see in all the videos that I watched of you last night that you're enjoying your life, and you're enjoying using your DNA and all that stuff to navigate a career that is not only fulfilling, but gives back. So can you just share your story a little bit with the Life is a Sacred Journey family?
Sure. I wanted to be a teacher my entire childhood. That's what I thought I wanted to do. It was second grade. I didn't want to go later when they're obnoxious and hard to deal with. I wanted elementary kids, right?
Right.
And my dad got really sick with his first round of cancer in 1992, and I was in second grade. And I remember thinking, I want to be famous, and I want to create a charity and to help people like us. Really, it was we were like middle class, we were regular people, and then suddenly we were poor people because he couldn't work. My mom couldn't work because his hospital was 3 hours away, and there was just like sadness everywhere I looked growing up. And I thought, I want to be helped, and no one's helping us, so I'm gonna figure out how to help people. And then I was, I don't know, 12 or 15 or something, and came across a rerun of the old Rosie O'Donnell show. And I saw myself in her, I saw my mom in her, and I saw just like an hour of fun, and where everybody could be themselves and everybody was welcomed. And it was just like about connecting with the audience that was in her studio, with celebrity. Like, it was this amazing like explosion of just like, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So I went to college to be a theater major. And I thought, oh, that I can't do. I'm not talented enough, right? Like, I'm not going to stand up there. So I just, went the usual route of like retail and all of like that. And it took me a long time to realize like my superpower is connecting with people, connecting people to one another. I love hearing stories from everyone. It's, it has taught me to not judge people.
Oh,
and that was
that again. Please say that again.
It really did. It taught me not to judge people, because you literally have no idea what anybody's going through. And so I was doing my show. I started my show in a basement in Maryland. And I would just call people and be like, do you want to come into my basement and talk to me and I'll film it? And they were like, I guess, sure. And then I moved to Texas and started the show again. And then I went through the divorce, and I had just moved out of our house, and I was in this tiny little apartment feeling sorry for myself. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take myself on a date. I need to laugh. I need to have fun. And this was before I knew what arts and health was. I just knew I needed theater. And so I went to a theater, and I knew people who ran the theater, and they said, I want to introduce you to someone. And it was the founder of Hearts Need Art. She had this tiny little folding table and this handmade cardboard sign. And I thought, this poor woman, like, where is she going to go? But I thought, I should have her on my show. I was hosting my show at a comedy club here at the time. And I thought, I wish I had access to this when my dad was going through his stuff as a kid. I wish my parents had access to this. So she came on, and we did art, and we talked about music and all the things that Hearts Need Art does. And she went away, and I went back to my life, and I was sitting in my apartment, and I thought, I'm healthy. My bills are paid. I'm okay. I should be giving back. Mm-hmm. And so I filled out a volunteer application. And 2 seconds later, I got an email. Is this Richard Wilmore? I was like, yes. And we went to coffee, and I started as a volunteer, and I was doing their social media. And then it's just snowballed into this whole dream life, really, that I've been able to create, where I get to be around art all day, every day. And the 47 jobs that I have, because, I work for a nonprofit. So you need 12 jobs just to pay a bill.
That's right.
But I am like the happiest poor person ever. Like, I get to express myself all day and then watch other people do that. And it made me realize, I started going into hospitals, and you realize that everyone is just like at the lowest level of their life, right? Like, they're all just literally fighting to live. but they still want to laugh and they still want to have fun and they still want to make friends. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is like another world. And so it really did make me realize, like, you cannot tell anybody's story from looking at them, and we shouldn't. Yeah. And it should, like, I just started loving everyone. Like, people say to me all the time, how could you love so many people? Because I was like, I love her. I'll get off this podcast and tell someone, like, I just had the best podcast and I love her. They're going to be like, you don't know her. I'm like, no, I think I do.
Yeah.
And it just has opened up this whole, like, other part of my heart that I didn't know was so blocked for so long. But I essentially just created, like, what I needed, which has been really fun to be able to do. So,
and when you tell your story, a part of it, folks, that I always say to you is that a lot of good stuff, and I know you don't want to hear this because it's hard to hear, but a lot of good stuff comes out of pain and grief.
Yeah.
And when we, again, go through it and allow ourselves to ebb and do, because grief is a funky thing. You think you got it under control, and then it goes bam, bam. You're like, wow, wait.
Yeah.
But when you surround yourself with this unconditional, remember I told you there's a difference between love and unconditional love, right? Mm-hmm. So agape love means, I love Richard. I don't have to be in the same state as he. I don't have to ever break bread with him. I love him because he and I are sharing this humanity together. So that's a whole different space. And when you said, then it puts you in a place where you are not judging other people, because we don't know that bubble that we all walk around with, that it's there, but we don't see the words in it. How has that changed the way you walk into those places where individuals are sick and possibly at the end of life?
I show up more as myself without the fear of what are they going to think of me. Because I did that for a very long time. I came out when I was 20 some years old, and I was afraid to do that. Okay. And then I was still in the area where I was also in the closet. So then I moved, and I thought, this is going to be a really great time for me to just be me, and nobody here knows who I was before that. And so I get to just show up and be who I am. And I think that is, you can feel that energy. And I just show up, and it's very important when you're in a hospital and you're working with people who are, end of life or in any stage of any life altering illness or condition. Like, you have to meet them where they are too. And the feelings that they're feeling today might not be the ones that they're going to feel in an hour or tomorrow, but it's just that acknowledgement and that trust between people. So I just show up as, like, my favorite, I tell people all the time, I love no's just as much as I love yeses. Like, you can say no to me as much as you want. That's okay. You, like, especially in a hospital, you don't have the choice to say no a lot. Say no to me all you want, but I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to ask you if you want to do it again. And you can say no and that's my favorite thing is oncology patients in a hospital are sometimes there for months, and some of them don't have visitors and some can't. And, all of a sudden this guy comes in and was like, do you want to paint with me today? And they're like, no, why would I want to do that? And then after, 2 weeks of every day coming in, and if I miss a day, I'm like, how come you didn't come in yesterday? I don't want to do it, but how come you weren't there? I'm like, well, because I don't know, it's whatever. And then when they finally get sick of me and they go, fine, I'll do it. Right. And then you get that thank you after, and they have tears, and then I'm crying because I'm a baby. And it's so precious. And I couldn't ask for anything better.
And when you say that, I want you to speak to that, because I find those moments when I am truly connected with another individual and I start crying. Mm-hmm. When it's like going through a detox. Mm-hmm. For myself, right? It all of a sudden, they're tears of joy, but they're also like, wow, I'm in awe of the human connection and how powerful it can be.
Yeah, it's like my body doesn't know what to do with all the emotions.
Yeah.
And I say that like I'm all like crying is just as important as laughing to me. Like, and I cry over anything. Like someone makes a really like if you make me a cake and you took your time to do it and you did it like I'm crying over it, even if it doesn't even taste good. I'm still like, oh my gosh. Like anything that for me feels like it's coming from your heart, I'm done.
This is my new best friend. Remember I told you that I cried at the Michelin tire commercial where the baby was sitting inside the tire? I mean, come on. I was an advertising major. I know how these things work. I was bawling. Yes. I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. So it connect people and don't be afraid. You know, people always say when they cry, I apologize. I'm sorry. Forgive me. One of the things that I just taught a group of women, Richard, at a women's retreat, I found out that the tears have enzymes in them that are actually good for you. Instead of wiping your tears away, you pat them into your skin and they act as like a little moisturizer. So stop dragging the tears off your face and just pat them in. Because first of all, you shouldn't be dragging your skin anyway. So you just pat them in and then they stay there and they remind you, and they're also, it's a natural tightener of your skin. You were made magnificently. Wow. So everything that you do
has a function.
Don't be apologizing to people that you're doing it, because if it's natural, as Richard just said, then let it go. Like movement, Richard, right? Movement, what you guys are doing at Hearts Need Art.
It's the hardest name.
But I love it. I'll get it. Yeah. But music too. It's not just art. And so talk a little bit about that.
I mean, our music program is amazing. We have multiple musicians who all are great at different types of music. So, I mean, we've had Metallica being played in hospital rooms, like live on a guitar, singing, for everything from, you know, Disney show tunes to hardcore, like rap. We've had, you know,
because Tupac is good for the heart.
Exactly, because illnesses don't discriminate, right? Like they're going to get everybody, and everybody has different tastes. So I love that we've been able to bring on many different ways that people can connect to other people. And you're able to learn a ukulele in a half an hour. You can learn a song on the ukulele. You can learn guitar. We have people who go around on keyboards and will sing. You can do really anything. You can write music if you've never written music, but you know, like we have our musicians will help you write a song. Like it's just any way to either express what you're feeling, but we also do like fiction writing too, where people are just making up stories because they want to be out of their heads for a minute, you know? Like it isn't always necessarily about writing down how you're feeling today or what you want to feel, but sometimes you just want to fantasize a little bit.
And that's a good, you know, that to me is also a place where we can escape. You know, I'm a big sci-fi fantasy reader, and love the movies that come out of that. And it's part of it is because I'm living the life, real life. So I don't need to always see a drama. That kind of gets a little too much. But I love, thinking about Frodo and the possibility of all of that. And, and I love going into the stratosphere. So being able to do both things, to journal, as you're saying, and, those are the emotional spaces, but to come out of those spaces and just really express it in a fictional way, if at all possible, if you want to call it that, is a really good release for people.
Before the pandemic, we would do group classes in the hospitals where I would go room to room, knock on everybody's door, invite them to a room. They'd all come, and we would have a professional artist there to facilitate something. But if you weren't connecting with whatever they thought they were doing that day, you could do whatever as long as we had supplies. And we had a room full of women and one male, and so they were doing some butterfly painting. And the guy said, I don't want to do that. And I was like, all right, well, what do you want? Well, like, what do you need? What supplies? And he said, I want paper and I want black paint. And so I gave him that, and he made this beautiful painting that the entire piece was entirely black. And then he left a little window in the corner, and then he did one red balloon. I don't know what it means. I didn't need to know what it meant, but it like still gives me goosebumps to think about it. And then they will, we had like, we could hang the artwork in the hallway. So we set up little things to hang them on, so people could, their family members could come and look at them. And he gave that to us, and we took it and we framed it for him. And I gave it back to him at one point, and he started crying. And of course, then I started crying. But it just like that moment of I can do whatever I want, and I don't want that, and I want this. And it just, he did it with the smallest paintbrush. Like it wasn't like the concentration, and he just wanted to kind of dissolve and into that painting. And it took him the entire 2 hours just to paint black, but it must have done something amazing to him, because what came out of that was just, I don't know, miraculous to me.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing that, because it also shows that, because we do art here with folks with dementia. And it's amazing to me sometimes when family members will say, my dad never painted or did anything like that. And this person creates something that creates emotion in you as the individual with all the cognition. Looking in, you get a snapshot into who that person is. It's an amazing experience. And that's kind of what you're talking about. Yeah. So do your programs go just into hospitals, or do they go into assisted livings? And how do people...
We go anywhere we're needed. We've done hospitals. We do a lot of, obviously during the pandemic, we started doing virtual stuff. So we started working with different hospitals around the country, different support groups. So it's not necessarily hospitals. It's really just people who want to create art. It's kind of, you don't have to prove to us that you're sick or have an illness or in the hospital. If you want to express yourself, there are ways we can help you do that. But we wanted to make it accessible for people who are very lonely in hospitals, who don't, have a way of being creative or expressing themselves, which is sometimes difficult with adults, because, we stop playing and we're thinking that, only the professionals should be making art or singing, or like you said, you just went and got a guitar. Like some people are afraid to. I've always wanted to learn the drums, and I'm still afraid to do it because I don't want to be bad at it.
I'm gonna, that's my new mantra thing for you. When I think about you, I'm just gonna send you energy. One day, out of the clear blue sky, you're just gonna go buy them. You're gonna be like, oh, Michelle, stop.
I know. And I'll call you and thank you. Because we're besties now.
We're besties. That's right. That's right. But so let me know about, and let everyone know about, how do they connect? So they don't have to be in the Texas area because you're doing virtual stuff. So how can they connect? I saw that you have group sessions, one-on-one sessions.
Yeah, and they're free. So we wanted to make it, and we work with, if you're doing a group session, you can do that at heartsneedart.org. All the stuff is right there, right on the front page. You just click a button. You can choose. We have little bios of all the artists, musicians, and writers. So you can choose kind of the genre you want to do, or if you're doing art, you can, I have colored pencils at home and paint. So this person is really great at that. And then you choose a time, but it's all based on what you want to do. And if you want, we've had people just make appointments with musicians to hear them play or watch them play during a lunch break. So we started working a lot with medical staff because
first responders.
Yes. It's always been a need, but it's obviously been a huge need with burnout and just the stress of their jobs now. So we do specific things for them. And they will literally just, I want a musician during my lunch break. I want to hear music for 5 minutes. Perfect. Or, I want to learn the ukulele. Order one on Amazon for $20 and we can do that. We've had one of our patients who isn't in Texas,
Okay.
She signed up at the beginning of the pandemic, and she still does weekly art with one of our artists, and they have a blast, and they've become friendly, and they just explore all different types. And she's, my favorite thing is when people say, I think I'm an artist now. Like, yes, you are. Like, and I love that. I love that people can get over that. And because I had to do it myself. I wasn't an artist before I started with Hearts Need Art, but I feel like, I've done a window painting for a patient now. Sure. I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm. And when you do it with a group, so for instance, we're in adult day healthcare, so we could do the first responder program with a group of our employees here, or partners, because employees that is just a weird word. Yeah. Partners, and you could do an art thingy with all of them, or music with all of them, to help them diffuse stress.
Yes.
Whether it be a weekly, monthly, or whatever, that can happen as well.
Yeah, and we've come up with like games. We'll do like, name that tune, just something to get them to laugh, something to get them just interacting with each other. It's very interesting, especially in a group setting, all the different, again, types of people that come together who you never would talk to on the street, you never would see in your everyday life. And suddenly you have this commonality.
Yes.
And it's such a bonding experience, which is, changes your life.
It changes your life. And then, so you don't charge for any of this. So I'm a nonprofit too, so I know, how do you keep your operation going? How do you align heart, vision, and mission with the dollars that you need to get to do what you need to do?
So just because we don't charge for it doesn't mean we don't accept money. There's always the option of donating on everything, but we work with the hospital systems to work out a percentage that they pay for. We do private donations. We have fundraisers. We have we write a lot of grant requests.
I'm sure.
So it's all different, all the different funnels that you can do it is what we do. But we wanted to make a program that can be accessible to anyone. So you don't have to go out and buy all the paint and all the guitars. You can do it with pencil and paper. So that was our goal with that.
So do you see that this is something, I'm thinking out loud, Richard, do you see this growing as, I'm thinking about the babies and the families that just went through trauma for some reason that popped in my head in Texas. And I'm thinking art and music and engagement in a way that's lighter and isn't always so intense. Is this a type of program that you think should be, and maybe this is just a dream for the future, that would change some of this, I don't know, angst and anger? And I hope I'm asking, you understand what I'm asking.
I think there are like two things that popped in my head when you said it. One, I think why we started the podcast, Arts for the Health of It, was to advocate for doing art or being creative or ingesting creativity. You don't have to paint. You can go to the theater like I did. You can go to a museum and still have actual health benefits. There's research that stuff like what we do actually will improve your health. It's not going to cure something, but it's also going to lower your stress levels. And, so they're like, this is the problem, is I was just in the hospital for 3 weeks and now I'm on medication and I'm in the middle of a sentence and I forget stuff. So the thought of maybe doing it before you're in the hospital, what can that do to you? Getting people in who are healthy, who are okay, to start creating and thinking a little outside of their everyday box, and that it's okay to play and have fun, what that will do for your longevity. Yeah. And so that's always interesting to me. Like, that's what I always talk about, is what would happen if we did it before we got sick? What would that have done to us? And then there was another part of that I completely forgot. Maybe I'll come back to it.
I love you. I hope that you're recuperating from whatever got you into the hospital. I pray it wasn't COVID, but
it was not COVID. And
okay.
I was at a hospital that didn't have our program. So I thankfully had my artists and musicians, and they came in and they painted my window, and we had a great time. And I was the talk of the entire hospital because I was new and fun.
I love it. I love it, change maker. You are a change maker. So before we run out of time, when a lot of the people that come to Life is a Sacred Journey are in what I call the most wonderful season of their lives. Some of folks are retired. There's also people who are millennials that are kind of coming and thinking about what does the future have to hold if I become a caregiver, or just people who are coming because we do a lot of self-help and changing our mindset. So when you're thinking about art, as we go into the future, art programs have been cut a lot in the last 2 decades in schools and throughout our communities. What would you say to people about being engaged in their communities and making sure that art stays not only in the schools, but parts of the community where people can express themselves, because I think it also will lower the amount of violence that we see.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are some even prisons who have theater programs that have now less violence in prison systems. I think just getting out and doing it yourself, and then maybe bringing someone along with you next time, and figuring out also what art form calls to you. Like you don't have to paint. If you try painting and you don't like it and it's uncomfortable, try something else. And I think exploring that side of you, especially as adults, because we stopped doing it. I remember in 4th grade, I got kicked out of band class. And he said, well, you're not practicing enough, so go back to your room. And I thought, oh, and that's probably why I don't play the drums, because I'm afraid of doing it wrong,
Exactly.
And we have to get back to just having fun in any way that we can. I just talked to someone who paints with her grandkids with sticks and pine cones as paintbrushes. So it's not something that even has to cost you any money.
Right.
And that's what's great about the arts. They're free, the beginning of the pandemic when everything was shut down, you could go online anywhere and people, free access to museums, free online museums, free everything. And we kind of forget how important the arts are in our lives when we're just living them, because we assume, oh, I'm going to put on that song, it's my favorite song. But like, think about what that actually is doing to you.
Yes. Every year for my birthday, I always do a dance, and it's usually to Mary J. Blige, because Mary's from my neck of the woods, and just got a whole lot of love for that girl.
She was great on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. Oh
yes.
my gosh. Yes. Who can wear hot pants and boots like Mary J. Blige?
Well, I mean me, but she's next.
I'm gonna come and see you one day, Richard. That's what I want.
And I'll be playing the drums.
I know, that's right. And you'll be playing the drums, and I'll play my guitar.
It's perfect.
But this is the thing, you guys, is that what Richard and I have been sharing with you is that story. Tell your story. Whether you make it an imaginary story or it's truly your story. That's one. Be in movement. Hear the music in nature. Hear the music in each other's voice. Did you hear the melodic tones of both my voice and Richard's voice? Very different. But you could hear excitement in them. You could hear that both of us are very trying to build this quick relationship in a matter of moments so that you can see the authenticity in our hearts. Life is an experience of art. You are art.
Yeah.
You're the most magnificent art piece that was ever created. And when you forget that, because somebody's told you you can't play the drums, or you're this, or you're too black, or you're too this, or you're too gay, whatever the heck it is. I almost said a bad word. They're wrong. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about because they don't know you. Just like Richard said, we all got that thing, that invisible bubble that we're walking around with, and there's words in it, but they're invisible to you, to the naked eye. Yeah. So Richard Wilmore is amazing. He has a self-titled show, The Richard Wilmore Show. Please go and look at that. Hearts Need Art is an incredible organization that could do with a donation from all of us. And you can do that online. I saw it. It's red, and hit it, and you can hit it and
very easy
money. You can also do things like support them by telling other people and other organizations so that they know about it and can get engaged and involved. And the one last thing, Richard, that I need you to share is the gratitude gram. Before we leave each other for this day, talk about the gratitude gram.
Sure. Can I also say one more thing about what you were saying too? Piggyback off that, and just saying that when you are being creative, don't think that it has to be for public consumption. Do it for yourself. Write in a journal for yourself. No one has to read that. Paint for yourself. Throw it away like I do, but just the process of it. Or I have like a sketch pad that I do it on. So it's not hanging anywhere, and it's for me. And if I want to show it, I can, but you don't have to show anybody what you're doing. Just remember that it's, at the end of the day, it's for you. So
thank you for reminding us of that, Richard. Yeah, that's important stuff.
Yeah. And so gratitude grams are kind of on that same thing where we saw a need for healthcare workers to feel a connection with someone and to feel that they were validated and appreciated. And so on our website, you can go and you can sign up yourself if you're a healthcare worker, or you can sign up a healthcare worker that you know. And every week they get a video, like a 5-minute video from one of our artists or musicians or writers with a little note that's a quick song or a quick art project that you can do, or a writing prompt. And it's just something that you can do during your break or listen to on your way home. Because they're so underappreciated, I think. They were, well, I don't know, maybe my boss will yell at me for this, but, they were all superheroes at the beginning of the pandemic. And I thought that's an awful thing to call someone. Yes. Because they're people and they have feelings, and they're working their butts off. But at one point, we're going to take down all those signs and they're no longer going to be superheroes. And what is that going to do to their minds? Because we've built them up and put them on this pedestal that can't hold them forever.
That's right.
Because it's America and we're going to get distracted by something else. And, they're still working really, and they've always worked really hard. That's the thing, is like, they're always working very hard. So how can we continue to give thanks to them? And that's what our gratitude grams.
And oh my gosh, Richard, I wish you were only a block away where I could come and hug you right now.
You're in California, right?
I'm in California.
Listen, that's my favorite place to be. So
yeah, we'll have to get together. We'll have to get together. There's because this is my big dream, is to take Life is a Sacred Journey on the road in a tiny house. I mean, that's just like I don't know.
That would be amazing.
I'm envisioning myself just going from city to city, talking to everybody that's ever come to Life is a Sacred Journey in person, just because. I don't know.
There has to be a grant for that. I'll help you look for it, because I would love to help you with that.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. There has to be a grant for that. So anybody out there hearing that, that's what Michelle wants to do. Take a sabbatical for a year from Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, because I want to come back and be in a tiny house and travel and meet all the people across the continent that I have met on Life is a Sacred Journey. So
yeah, I mean, you're documenting history.
And yes, and different lives. The one thing about Life is a Sacred Journey that Richard, I want to, and you've done this in your work as well. I am sick of having titles about how to live out diversity. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You are a human being as much as I am a human being. And because we are on this planet breathing H2O or whatever it's called, H2O is water, whatever, oxygen, I have an obligation to treat you with dignity and respect. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean I have to like you. Mm-hmm. It does not mean that at all. but it means I have to love myself enough that I see you with love.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to call me anything but Michelle.
Yep.
At that point, because you will then be a person that knows that, yes, I'm a Black woman, and yes, I'm all these things, but you know what? Michelle is who you want to get to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because then all the facets of who I am will become very crystal clear to you, and you'll know whether or not you want to hang in my space or not. And the same thing with my new bestie, Richard Wilmore. Richard Wilmore is the director of storytelling at Hearts Need Art. He is also an individual that is a change maker out there in the world, just lifting up all this good vibration, right? There is a vibration tone for goodness, folks. I know some of you don't want to hear this, but it is a vibration. And we need art. We need art, and we need a higher vibration of humanity so we can stop crashing into each other and leaving damaged people behind.
Yeah.
I was one of those damaged people that was left behind, just like you said, Richard, because somebody told me I couldn't. For whatever reason, they decided they had to tell me that. And you have to fight, you guys, to come back from that. And
it's so worth it.
Right? It's so worth it. And when you do, woo!
Yeah.
And Richard, are you looking back now, and not in vengeance and not in anger, but you can look back now at some of those people that have been the naysayers of your dreams and say, not in a negative way, but how you like me now?
Yeah. And I mean, and even some of them I've become friends with. Because, it wasn't about me, it was about them. And I think hopefully everybody kind of grows and matures. And I've been able to become friends with some of the people who weren't the nicest to me. And I think that's I'm so happy I get to do that.
Yes. And it releases you into a new space, which is also phenomenal. Last words from you, my friend, for the audience that's listening to you this morning.
Take care of yourselves, and take care of the people you love, and make sure you tell them that you love them. Like, don't be afraid of loving people, because I don't know, it can all change in one second. You have no idea. And so just take advantage of your capabilities of loving people.
That's the best words that you could possibly get, my friends. So Richard, do you have a few minutes just to hang on?
Yeah.
Okay. So friends, we're ending Life is a Sacred Journey this morning. My friend this morning was Richard Wilmore. He's the director of storytelling for Hearts Need Art. And again, a new BFF of Life is a Sacred Journey, and I will always carry him in my heart. As you know, I always do with everybody that comes here. Go out and hug a tree, read to the tree. I keep telling you, sit under the tree, read to the tree, send something up, okay?
Don't paint the tree, that might hurt it. That might kill it or something. Don't paint it.
But you can take a picture of it and go paint it later.
There you go. Perfect.
Pet a dog, pet a cat, hug a person, but more importantly, hug yourself. And know that love starts with you loving yourself. It's not an ego trip. It's about loving yourself so that you can be the love that the world so desperately needs. Have a safe weekend. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to somebody else. Smile. Wear your mask. I know you hate it when I say this, but please wear your mask, because this thing is not gone. All right? Be safe, everybody, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.